These are real stories from real women. When you're ready, your story can be heard too. Send it to OurSilentStories@hotmail.com.
People used to tell me, "You have the perfect life." They'd say it with admiration, sometimes with envy, sometimes with that tone that suggested they wished they could trade places with me. They saw the polished version, the dinners, the vacations, the smiling photographs framed on the mantel. What they didn't see were the cracks beneath the surface, the quiet tremors of a woman trying to hold everything together while she was slowly unraveling on the inside. I learned early that if you smiled long enough, people stopped asking questions. And for years, that strategy worked. I became an expert at pretending everything was fine, pretending I was fine. You'd be amazed how convincing a well-practiced smile can be. My husband was successful, charming, eloquent, the kind of man who knew exactly how to impress people. To the outside world, we were the couple everyone wanted to be. People would say, "You two look so happy," and I'd nod because correcting them felt impossible. Inside our home, the truth was different. I walked on eggshells from morning until night. He didn't shout in public. He didn't need to. He waited until the doors closed, until the guests left, until I was alone with him. Then he'd remind me who was really in control. The control was subtle, almost invisible to anyone who wasn't living it. A comment disguised as a joke, a correction passed off as helpful, a criticism wrapped in concern. "You embarrassed me tonight. Why can't you be more like her? Don't ruin this for us. You're too sensitive." That reaction, that's why people don't take you seriously. Each sentence chipped away a tiny piece of me, and over time those pieces added up until I barely recognized the woman left. I started waking up every morning already exhausted, not from lack of sleep, but from the performance I had to give every day. Pretending to be happy, pretending to be grateful, pretending not to notice how my voice got quieter with each passing year, pretending not to notice that I had stopped laughing, truly laughing, a long time ago. The first time I realized something was deeply wrong, I was looking at a photograph. It was from a charity event, me in a red dress, smiling perfectly beside him. But my eyes looked like they belonged to someone else, someone who had learned how to disappear in plain sight. I stared at that picture for a long time, long enough to feel something painful rising in my chest. Recognition. Recognition that the woman in that photograph wasn't me anymore. She was a carefully constructed version of me, built to keep peace, to avoid conflict, to keep him satisfied. She was someone who existed only to make others comfortable. I didn't leave right away. I wish I could say I did. But when you've built your entire life around someone else's approval, freedom doesn't feel like liberation. It feels like failure. It feels like giving up. It feels like betrayal, not of him, but of the version of yourself who believed you could fix everything if just tried harder. So I stayed. I stayed through the comments, the corrections, the cold silences. I stayed even as I became smaller. I stayed because fear can be very convincing. Fear of loneliness, fear of judgment, fear of starting over. But slowly, very slowly, something inside me began to shift. A small voice, one I had ignored for years, started whispering that life shouldn't feel like this. It started when I began taking short walks by myself, just 10 minutes. 10 minutes where I could breathe without measuring every inhale. 10 minutes where no one was evaluating me. I started reconnecting with old friends, quietly, cautiously. Women who remembered me the way I used to be before the dimming began. Conversations that reminded me I once had opinions, preferences, hobbies, a self. I kept a journal, writing things I was too afraid to say out loud. At first, even that felt rebellious. He noticed the changes, of course. Men like him always notice. "You're different," he'd say, narrowing his eyes. "Don't mess up our life." And every time he said it, I wanted to whisper, "I hope I am changing. I hope I do mess up the life that's killing me." The night I finally left wasn't dramatic. There were no thrown suitcases, no broken dishes, no shouting. He was out of town for work. The house was silent, the first peaceful silence I'd heard in years. I walked into the closet and pulled out a small suitcase. I didn't take much. Just a few clothes, some documents, and one photograph, the last picture of me where I still recognized myself. I didn't even look around the house as I walked out. I think part of me knew that if I turned back, I might lose the courage I had fought so hard to build. When I closed that door behind me, I expected to feel terrified. I expected to shake, to cry, to panic. Instead, I felt nothing, a quiet nothing, a peaceful nothing, a nothing that felt like the first breath after being underwater too long. The first few weeks were strange. I kept catching myself smiling automatically when someone spoke to me. Years of habit, a reflex like breathing. And then I'd remember I didn't have to pretend anymore. I moved into a small apartment, nothing like the home I left behind. The furniture didn't match, the kitchen was tiny, and the walls were bare. But for the first time in years, the space felt like mine. I painted the walls a soft yellow, the color of quiet joy. I filled the rooms with secondhand furniture and cheap candles. I bought flowers for myself for no reason at all. I let music fill the apartment again, the kind he used to call silly. I danced while making coffee. I laughed too loud. I cried when I needed to. I lived without permission. Little by little, I began to come back to myself. I didn't become a brand new person. I became the person I was before fear dimmed me. Now, when I smile, it's different. It doesn't feel heavy. It doesn't feel rehearsed. It doesn't hide anything. It's mine. People still tell me, "You're glowing." They say it like it's a surprise. But I just nod because there's no simple way to explain what it feels like to finally see yourself again after years of being lost. And if you're listening, really listening, and you've been smiling for too long, pretending everything's fine, I want you to hear this. You don't have to keep performing. You don't have to shrink yourself so someone else can feel big. You don't have to stay where love hurts more than it heals. The world won't fall apart when you stop pretending. It might actually open up, because behind every forced smile is a woman waiting to be free, a woman who has been whispering to herself for years, "There must be more than this." And one day, maybe sooner than you expect, she'll stop pretending. She'll take a breath. She'll take a step. She'll choose herself. And when she does, her real life will begin.